about Twin Oaks. Everything is shared. Everything. And it's something that we would find probably difficult. We don't have many personal things. All cars, everything, the land, the food. But they've got organic gardening, milking, and produce, as we see later on, quite a lot of their own food. So in terms of social justice, everybody's got the same resources. I just mentioned, in Germany, of course, there's quite a few of these eco-villages as well, which are worth visiting. Commune Niederkaufungen, I think is how you pronounce it, is truly Marxist. They are absolutely Marxist. They believe, from each according to the ability, to each according to the need. They're completely socialist. They share everything. Everything in their place, and they don't have a spiritual side at all. They just have that. And I'd just say that social justice is an important part of eco-villages, like it is the 99%, 1% debate here. It's important there. Now, what have they done? What have they done? Well, what eco-villages have done is they've become a little laboratory for facing the problems. Like, this is a laboratory for finding different ways as an alternative to capitalism, because we're in a mess, you know. This is a place, a debating place. Well, they've developed a whole body of experience, and we've got to think of basic things that we need. Now, we need water, and at Vindhorn they've got a living machine which was developed by a scientist, and it's a fantastic process. All the sewage water goes through tanks, and it's all purified by natural means, by using natural organisms. So they've developed that. In Oroville, they've developed systems to stop the seawater encroaching. They've also got water purification systems that they developed. And in Crystal Water in Australia, they've got a biolytic water filter system. So you've got a water pump with worms. It digests organic waste, treats all human and kitchen waste, and you get clean water and you get fertiliser at the end. So water they deal with. I know you've had problems with water and them being cut up here, and you've had to go and get it from various places. And food. Food's a very much basic part of an eco-village. It's the central. If they're not urban villages, they have to learn organic systems. They have to learn sustainable systems. They don't use conventional agriculture. Now, if you look at Twin Oaks. Here, they produce 75% of their food. That's an incredible achievement. But they're not vegetarians. And maybe some people might have to adapt the value systems living in these, because they eat meat and dairy. They produce meat and dairy food. And in meat and dairy food, they're 95% self-sufficient. So organic farming in Damohur, they again have a variety of farming enterprise. Again, you don't have one thing, you have a variety of things. You have animals, you have horticulture, you have a variety of economic systems. So they produce 50% of their own food. Fish farms, pigs, cattle, vegetables, fruit, milk, cheese, oils, cereals, bakery products, wine and honey. So they'll sell those, that is an income for them. As well as being self-sufficient, they can sell the surplus, which is another income stream. And one that's not here, I've added, because it is a bit of a specialist one. It's Svanholm in the Netherlands. There are a few eco-villages in Denmark, sorry. Founded in 1978. So they got 625 acres, and they do organic farming, dairy herd of 100 Jersey cows, 250 sheep. But they also specialise in carrots. In Germany, there's big demand for organic vegetables, and they actually produce organic carrots for the German market. So there's a big emphasis there on them producing food as a big part of their economy. So they produce their own food. Right, and that's an important thing. The thing that we need to address, and Peter I applaud for bringing this up at the Climate March, is it's not just about capitalism. It's not about the 99% and 1%. It's about what we're doing to the climate. The fact is, climate change is the biggest threat we're facing. Now, the eco-villages are a model to deal with that because they're low carbon footprint. And I want to draw your attention to down here. Look it up on the web. The Centre for Alternative Technology in Wales, CAT. It's one treasure in the world. And McClintock, if you ever get a chance to visit, they are being experimenting with solar and wind and all these energy systems for years. And they wrote a report about zero carbon Britain, which is worth looking at as well. That we can actually cut our carbon footprint. They're not eco-villages, but they help the eco-villages, these places. And the other thing that you want to look at is the Folk Centre in Denmark, which also has done a lot of research. And there's also another one in Tucson, Arizona, that has done a lot of research. So basically, you're looking at moving forward with the alternative energy through centres that then feed into the eco-villages, give advice. In fact, there is an eco-village at CAT, a small one, again. Now, Damanhur is one of the most forefront in energy. 30% of electricity from photovoltaic and micro-hydro systems. If you know about micro-hydro systems, they're very interesting little hydroelectric plants you can put on little rivers, and they produce quite a lot of energy. In fact, you can actually construct them where there's no hill at all. You can produce a hill, and you can put the water down a slope, and then have enough to pump it up again, and still make energy. Micro-hydro, they're all over the developing world, particularly in China. They have plans to add 500 kilowatts to their solar producing. And also, another aspect you'll find, which you find in Damanhur, is that they use neutral carbon sources of wood. You can burn the wood and it absorbs enough CO2 in the atmosphere so that it's actually neutral when you burn it, you know? So there's no actual adding of carbon to the atmosphere. So, Finhorn is a fantastic example where they're making an income. They're exporting energy to the national grid from their wind farm, you know? 750 kilowatt capacity. It's got solar thermal heating on all the buildings. And again, they use neutral wood resources. So you can grow wood, it grows fast, you burn it, the wood that you've grown absorbs the carbon that you've created by burning it. It's a closed loop system. But guess what? In order for that system to operate in this country, we need to plant an area the size of Wales every year, just to keep up. One thing I found in my book, that the way we behave on this planet, and I want to have room for debate because it's important to talk about this thing. This is an educational place, so we need to talk. I talked too long last time, but this time we're going to actually debate some of the ideas. Maybe looking at Finsbury Square as a possible urban eco-village, what we could do to that. The thing we don't respect, and the thing that we depend on, is other species. We don't only depend on the climate, we depend very much on other species that we're here. Now, a very inspiring guy called Alan Watson Featherstone from Finland has had a project since 1989 of replanting the Caledonian forest. You know, that's 600 square miles. In 20 years, they've planted 800,000 trees, restored 4,500 hectares, 11,000 acres of forest. And they're protected. What happens in Scotland is that red deer actually erode the natural Caledonian forest. They eat all the shoots, so it's protected against the red deer. They've introduced wild boar, and they're going to introduce beaver. So there's, again, an outshoot from eco-villages, like this place is, outreaching. They're not just in-house. That doesn't work. That's not their philosophy. They reach out all the time.
Good man.
And another thing is the Manitou Foundation. This is in Colorado, and I'd love to go there. There's a load of spiritual communities. There's Christian monasteries, there's Tibetan centers, there's all sorts of temples, very spiritual traditions in the Colorado area. And what they did, they got together and formed a Manitou Foundation, all these communities. And they formed what was called the Earth Restoration Corps. And what they do is they train people in conservation in the Colorado area, planting trees. But they also take them to the Amazon and help conservation there. So, what I've shown from the talk, basically, the eco-villages are a model. They're a model of sustainability. They're a model for the future, because whatever they say, capitalism, like transition town, we're all going to have to use less energy. And in fact, our standard of living may go down in terms of iPhones and everything else, but the joy of living might go up, because we're humans, we're together, we're social animals, and we produce our own culture. That's the basis of what I'm proposing, is that we need models for the future. And the model for the future is the eco-village. Small, little communities, not huge places, with dynamic people, and almost, if things don't go as they should do and we develop an alternative system, I'm afraid we're looking for disaster for this planet, where there's going to be rampant climate change. And in fact, the only people who will survive will be people that are organised, that know how to produce food, energy. So we need, if we're going to survive, we need eco-village on a mass scale. If there's not eco-village on a mass scale and things go down and people die in large numbers, possible horror scenario, these are the communities that will survive, because they're sustainable. They're not based on technology. They're not based on a capitalist economy. They're based on self-sufficiency. So that's my proposal, is that we look towards that. Not to dismiss technology, use technology, but in a low human scale. Use our resources. And of course the greatest resource that we have is what you find here in the 10th City University at St. Paul, is people. That is your greatest resource. You see from all these eco-villages, started by 1 or 2 people getting together, like St. Paul's, like Finsbury Square, like UBS, people getting together.